All right. So I just got back to my room after UFC 313. This is terrible lighting, so I look terrible, but I will talk to you guys about the event. And I'm actually about to find out what Dana said in the presser because I haven't seen it. And but I'll talk to you about the event and what I heard is going on behind the scenes, because apparently, and you guys would probably know this better than I would, but there was a massive issue. I mean, I already know there's a massive issue with the pay-per-view, but I talked to some people, like inside people, and apparently there was like a huge problem with the ESPN digital infrastructure, and they're going to just turn around and run it back. They couldn't sell the pay-per-view, and yeah, so pretty serious issue, it sounds like. But yeah, the event was great until the main event. That was so bizarre. What the I still don't I don't know what I watched in the main event. It was so weird. Like, it was such a bizarre main event. I'm curious if you guys in the chat have any thoughts on it. Like, to me, I'll tell you exactly what I saw. And I think, honestly, I actually have it on video. I think I was talking in the background of this video that I took when Poatan came out. But I said to my buddy, I was like, he looks weird, dude. Like, he looks weird on his way out. He just looked like not the way he normally looks when he comes out. And then he did the thing where he stopped and did, like, you know, kind of the routine thing where he's like, and then he did like the arrow. And I was like, okay, maybe he's there. I don't know. He looked like he was trying to do what he normally just does, you know, or like I don't know, there was something wrong. Like, it just seemed like right out of the gate, it seemed like there was something wrong. I also noticed too, and I could be tripping because I haven't compared it to his other fights yet, but when he was standing in the octagon prior to the fight starting, when they were doing the kind of the announcing both fighters, there's something looked weird about his body too. Like, I was like, dude, his body looks weird. Like, his legs look skinnier than they normally do. I don't know. There was something, everything looked weird to me about his, like, the way his, I don't know, the way he was carrying himself. His body looked a little bit weird. And then once the fight got going, I was like, okay, never mind. He's like, he's his normal self, you know. But then I don't know, you know, like halfway through the second round, it was kind of like, all right, like, what's he doing? Then he got knocked down almost at the end of the second round. And then 3 and 4, it was like someone had like taken his soul out and then put the soul of like different person in there, where he's like content to like just slowly lose a decision. Super weird, dude. Like, you know, when he's on the fence and like, I mean, I can tell the difference between someone who is, you know, hand fighting and defending against the fence with the intention of finding your spot and then breaking free and circling out, versus someone who is like on autopilot and just like going through this and making sure they don't get taken out or taken down, like without a lot of like thought or heavy intention of escaping when they can. And he looked like he was on autopilot, like completely looked autopilot to me. And then he went so long without throwing a strike that I started saying to my friends, I'm like, dude, I think his hand might be broken. I said to my buddy, I'm like, I think his right hand is broken. He hasn't thrown a right in a really long time. And then once he started throwing rights, I'm like, oh, wait, he hasn't thrown a left in a really long time. Maybe it's his left hand. And then he started throwing lefts again. And I'm like, I don't know what to make of this at all, dude. I don't know what to make of this. Ankalaev shut him down. That's really. I mean, listen, dude, I'm like, just an opinion. Let me see if I can make my lighting better, actually, this direction. Oh, oh my God, it's 100 times better. I look like a fucking Grim Reaper from that. That's like studio lighting 101. That what I was doing before is like the exact opposite of what you should do. But like, again, this is just my opinion. I actually expected Ankalaev to look better than he did, because Ankalaev coming in, he looked the exact opposite of Poatan. Like, Ankalaev looked absolutely 100% confident. He looked like if you like threw a fucking army of rhinoceroses in front of him that he was just gonna like, he's like, just give me a kitchen knife and I'll fucking kill them all. He looked so confident. He just looked killer. It was like when they did the actual like you know, when they were called like doing the pre-fight where they were announcing him and they went to Poatan and then they went back to Ankalaev. I said to my like Ankalaev, I was like, oh my God, look at this fucking guy, man. Like I hate Ankalaev. Like now I really don't like him. I thought I didn't like him before. Then I decided I thought I kind of liked him. Now I really definitely don't like him because I think, dude, he's disrespectful, man. Anyway, I'll get into that in a second, but then once they started fighting, it was like, oh, Ankalaev, it's like, I mean, he caught him a couple times. The only really heavy shot he caught him with was the one at the end of the second round. But like, I don't know. What from my perspective, what happened was, as long as Poatan was doing enough to make Ankalaev fear him throwing strikes back in his direction or Poatan going first, then Ankalaev was like, you know, not able to do anything. It was only when Alex Pereira's output was so non-existent that Ankalaev's like, oh, he's just going to let me do whatever he wants. Like, even when he would go forward, like Poatan wasn't even throwing counters, really. He just fought completely different than he normally did. And, I mean, Ankalaev also, though, is clearly much better than any of the guys he's fought at 205. But I don't know. It just was very bizarre to me, that entire fight. So who knows? They're gonna do the rematch. If Ankalaev beats him again, then that conversation's over. You know, it just is what it is. Anybody can have an off night, and it's just, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, I mean, good for Ankalaev. It's just, it's unfortunate when a champion as dominant as Pereira loses in a fashion like that, in my opinion. I mean, it's like, you know, if they get sparked, it's like, damn. It's just weird to have him lose the title in that fashion with everyone. I mean, I was there. Like, the entire fucking building was booing. I booed. I never boo fights, ever. And by the end, I was like, Jesus, boo. But MMA Guru talked you out of Gaethje, and so did I. If you watched my live stream, I was like, no one wants me to lose this bet more than I do. I do not want to win this bet, but I'm going to bet on Fiziev, and I went through all of it. And like, on paper, Fiziev should have been able, you know, or like, not whatever. Like, my hypothesis was that he was going to be able to beat Gaethje because Gaethje would be compromised from the last fight. But what ended up happening was Fiziev changed his game plan. It was a really good one early on, to where he had a bunch of things that Gaethje didn't expect, especially those takedowns on the leg kicks, to where he basically forced Gaethje to stop leading with leg kicks, because not only did he do that takedown once, he did it twice consecutively, like 2 tries, 2 successful. And so all of a sudden Gaethje's like, oh, fuck, if I throw this leg kick, he's going to fucking take me down. And it looked like Fiziev was going to be in a really good spot to win the fight. And then the fight was won in the tight spaces. It's like Fiziev could not, for some reason, figure out that as long as he was outside of a, you know, I don't know, whatever, 1 yard in front of Gaethje, he was having success and Gaethje was not. The second that he was inside of 1 yard, he was getting destroyed. He was losing every exchange as soon as he was inside of this area. And it's like he just never realized it. He just kept on going in there and 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 going in. Even after he got knocked down, same exact thing. Kept getting in tight and then trying to fight his way out. And Gaethje would fucking punch him and he'd miss. And he just like, it's like no one told him. It's like, bro, never stop moving if you are within 1 yard of Gaethje. Like, get in, get out, strike from there, strike from distance, circle. Do not stop and trade with him in tight. He is destroying you in that spot. And he just kept on doing it, kept on doing it. And then eventually, to your point, he ran out of gas and then it was over for sure. But it was a great fight. And I was rooting for Gaethje, and I actually fucking hurt my ring finger that I was wearing because I was slamming this so hard on the thing, hoping Gaethje would win. But yeah, I mean, I will admit one thing about my pre-fight hypothesis about the fight. It didn't dawn on me that Fiziev took the fight on 12 days notice and that gas tank was the problem in his last fight. I just didn't even think about that at all. I knew he was short notice. I didn't realize he was that short notice, but honestly, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, unless his training camp would have like had some kind of effect on, dude, why are you not realizing that he's punching you in the temple or under your chin every fucking time that you stop in front of him and try to do this trading things? Like, you can't do that ever. Stop it. But anyway, it is what it is. I also, like with the, what was really funny about the Bobby Green one. So I watched a bunch of the dudes fights, Ruffy's, whatever's fights right before the event. And I was like, this guy's setup is identical to Bobby Green's. His style is so similar to Bobby Green's. Bobby Green's faster. That guy has more power. I wouldn't necessarily bet on Bobby Green to win the fight 1-1, but at 4-1, it's probably a good value bet. And as soon as they got square, and they were literally mirroring each other because their stances and how they fight are so similar. And I kept saying to Bill, he's in the fucking room, he'll verify this. I kept saying to Bill, I'm like, if Bobby Green throws a fucking wheel kick right now, he will knock this dude out. And I said it over and over and over. I'm like, throw the fucking wheel kick, you'll knock this dude out. I said it probably how many times? 3 times, 4 times? I was like, throw the fucking wheel kick, you'll knock him out. And then the other dude threw the wheel kick and fucking knocked out Bobby Green. I was like, I guess that's like being fucking 30% right or something. Like I feel like I was like kind of right, because I was saying, I'm like, they're identical. Bobby, throw the wheel kick, you'll win. And then the other dude's all, what'd you say, Jesse on fire? From 100 million yards away. I definitely didn't hear you. Wheel kick, knockout. That wheel kick was so sick though. So it was perfectly set up, dude. Because the way that Bobby Green fights, both of them actually, is they're all open and then they react to the strikes and then they're planted to throw counters. That's why they do that. Like they bait guys in, and when they slip and they control distance, it's always like they kind of get their, they're mobile, but then when they slip, they're stationary. It's like they're moving, but then they stop because they're always going to throw counters. That's their whole game plan. It's like bait, stop, counter. And so when he threw the fake hook, Bobby reacted to it, reacted to the hook, and it absolutely looked like he was going to throw a hook. And then now he's stationary like he always is. And that's when the wheel kick, it hits him. It was like, if Bobby Green did not prepare for that exact thing, and that dude, like if you did it 1,000 times, I think that lands fucking 1,000 times in that exact situation. It's like, it was perfect, but yeah, Ankalaev, dude, played it unbelievably safe. It was, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of UFC events. I've seen a lot of fights like the Gaethje and Fiziev one where like the entire place goes fucking bananas and it's really, really fun. And I've been at a lot of fights where the place boos, but it's very rare to have a fucking main event where the entire fucking stadium is universally angry and booing at the same time. Like, oh my God, in a main event, that's very rare for that to happen. I actually can't. The only time I can even think of that happening before where I was there was actually, ironically, the fucking Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards one where Leon Edwards then out of fucking nowhere kicked Kamaru's head off with, a minute left or whatever. It was so boring. It was just like that. Everyone was boo. And then Leon out of left field starched him and the place went insane. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Poatan, he came out of in the 5th round and his energy was completely shifted from the 3rd and 4th. Pereira's energy for the first 3 minutes of the 5th round was totally different. I guarantee if you go watch that fight back again and just look at him in the first 3 minutes of the 5th, he was stalking him again. Like they clearly said to him, they're like, you are going to lose if you do not knock him out. And Poatan turned it on again and went out there and he was stalking him and he was looking for the knockout. You could tell whatever is normally there that was gone for the 2 rounds was there for the beginning of the 5th. And then as soon as Ankalaev kind of like started tying him up, at first he was trying to get loose. And then you could tell by, with a minute left, he just went kind of back to whatever he was doing and it resigned himself that like, that was it. I thought maybe he had the flu or something. I don't know. It's really weird. They booed because Alex was losing. No. Well, maybe, but the biggest reason they were booing is because Ankalaev was intentionally tying him up, and trying to do takedown. Like he was trying to take him down and not having success. So he's like going for the takedown, and then they just get tied up against the fence and nothing's happening. And so people are like, boo. Everyone wants Poatan to win, to your point. But also, the thing that's stopping that from happening is this incredibly intentionally boring style where he's just like, I'm going to stop Alex from being able to fight. Everybody hates that shit, I entertained this also, James. I think he didn't recover from the punch. That's what I said. I'm like, I guess it could have been that he got hurt bad in the end of the second round. He got buckled, and then he was a little bit too afraid of getting touched like that again but it seemed like more than that. Cause again, on his way in, I said, something's weird. Like something about him looks weird. And then he fought a super weird fight. So I don't know. Generally speaking, whenever I hypothesize like, oh, maybe this guy's abusing substances. Cause if I know the guy's a recovering alcoholic or recovered alcoholic, it's like, because that's where my brain went when I first saw him coming out. I'm like, maybe this guy's been drinking again or something. That's obviously almost certainly a projection on my part where it's like, well, anytime I'm not operating or, historically was not operating at optimal, that's probably what was going on with me. So I look, I'm like, oh, he's probably drunk. And they're like, or he had a hard weight cut, you fucking drug addict. But yeah, I don't know. Shunji was with us and I asked him after the fight and he was thinking way too much about what Ankalaev was doing. It's that simple. He was just too concerned with what Ankalaev was doing and not concerned enough about what he was going to do and imposing his will. I'm like, yeah, that's what, honestly, my honest response to that is that's exactly what it looked like initially. And then something else happened where he just resigned himself that he didn't care or something. I don't know. It was weird. Normally, Montez, if it wasn't fucking 1 a.m. on my third night in Vegas and I had more energy, I would fucking turn your asshole inside out and feed you to my fucking dog. But right now I'm tired and it sounds boring. So go fuck yourself and go find a fucking gay porn site. That's a much better fit for you. You'll find a lot of people that are into the same stuff as you. Eric Melton, thank you for the super chat. He had trouble against a good southpaw. He was exposed tonight. Big time. Maybe. Maybe. But like, had he not looked weird to me the entire time, I would maybe, be more likely to just sign off on that. But I don't know. It's just like, he's never looked like that. Like in any of his fights, I've obviously watched all of his fights. He's never looked like that. Even in the only other fight where he was down, multiple rounds was in the first Izzy fight, where he came back in the 5th, but he never looked like that. He was just losing, Izzy was doing what he does and he was kind of, he was trapping him and he was having more success, but he was dialed in trying to knock Izzy out the whole time. This was the very first time he's ever looked like indifferent, at all. And he did it for almost 2 full rounds. He looked indifferent to me. Oh, you're up at 3:52 a.m. That's awesome, dude. We all we thought about going out. Like my whole crew, we walked over to Cosmo and we were like, are we all going to go out? Everyone was just like, I'm down to go out, but I don't care. And like literally no one cared at all. It was like, you know what that felt like, Bill? Like when you were in high school, did you guys ever go like, all right, hey, we'll meet up at the the bowling lanes fucking parking lot, then we'll figure out what we're going to do. And then you stand there and everyone's like, what are you going to do, dude? Hey, what do you guys want to do? And no one ever has any ideas. And you sit there and you're like, oh, and you go to Thrifty. And you sit in that park. That's exactly what that felt like, dude. We were just like, all right, I guess we could just stand here. And then like, just no direction whatsoever, dude. You guys actually gave me the direction. I'm like, I actually have to live stream something about the fights. So there it is. Oh, Dana White is fucking furious because the ESPN infrastructure went down. Like they couldn't sell pay-per-views. I'm sure some of you guys, I mean, I wouldn't accuse any of you like directly, but I'm sure some of you guys probably were streaming it on an illegal site. But for those of you who are trying to buy it through ESPN, the whole thing broke. Like in a way that's, I mean, again, I'll tell you, I got this from Chael. Chael told me that like people could not buy the pay-per-view at all. Like they couldn't buy it. Were you guys like were any of you guys able to buy the pay-per-view and it worked? Oh, and then also that's part one of why Dana's mad. And then hang on, let me respond to the super chat, and then I'll tell you that too. Kenny, you think Ankh does better in the rematch, not worrying about Ramadan in Dubai? I mean, there's no way for me to know that without knowing whether Ankalaev really like wasn't eating and all that. You know what I mean? There's too many unknowns for me to have a good answer for that. I appreciate the super chat. But so the other thing about Dana is, I mean, I've covered this extensively on the channel. Dana fucking hates Ankalaev. I mean, it's not like he's made that a secret, but like when Ankalaev fought Jan Blachowicz and that fight went to a draw, and Ankalaev had pretty decisively won the 5th round, and people thought, oh God, dude, listen, guy, I told you, okay? No one here is interested in trading picks with you, okay? All these guys like MMA, not donkey punching their boyfriend and then bothering people on live streams. So I'm going to put you in timeout, and you should go find people that are into shit like that. Try Destiny's channel. I heard he's into that stuff. Okay, so the after that fight, when he got the draw, he went on the microphone and was like, "Give me my belt." He demanded his belt. He said, "Give me my belt. Where's my belt? Give me my belt." And then he threatened to leave the organization. I'm going to go to a different organization. This organization not taking care of me. On the microphone in the octagon after a title fight, which I had never seen anyone do. And I remember I was with Gabrielle. It was our anniversary, and we were in I don't know, this wine country place in Texas in an Airbnb. And I was watching it, and I'm like, "Fuck, dude, Dana is going to fucking lose it on that." And then so I'm like, I at least need to, like, you know, we're like doing anniversary shit. I'm like, I just need to watch Dana's press conference. I put on an iPad so that I could watch it. And Dana was like, they're like, "So what do you think about a rematch?" He's like, "A fucking rematch?" He's like, "That was the worst fight ever." It wasn't even a bad fight, honestly. It really wasn't even a bad fight. And he was like that. He's like, it was so boring. He said that he didn't even watch the last 2 rounds. So he's like, I walked out. He's like, I walked out. I didn't even watch the last 2 rounds. He's like, and they're like, "So do you think Ankalaev should get an immediate title?" He's like, "No." I was like, oh man, he fucking hates Ankalaev. So it took Ankalaev how long since, like, that was December. I mean, I know it's December 9th. That's our anniversary. Let me see what, I think that was like definitely at least 2 years ago, if not 3. Jan versus Ankalaev was December 10th. Okay, so it's the same weekend of our anniversary, 2022. So it was like a little over 2 years ago. And I mean, Ankalaev, I mean, if you were going to be like one of those guys won, Ankalaev should have won the decision and won the vacant belt. And Dana didn't give him another fucking title shot for over 2 years. Okay. That tells you everything you need to know. If Alex Pereira loses, he gets an immediate title shot. Ankalaev gets fucked in a decision, and Dana doesn't give him another shot for over 2 years. That is all you need to know. He fucking hates Ankalaev. And then, so Ankalaev wins with the entire stadium booing at the top of their lungs. Okay. Like, there was no, like, I'm pretty sure the Russian fans were fucking booing him, dude. Okay. Like, there was nothing but boos for the last 2 rounds consistently. And he gets on the microphone. He's like, this is in all seriousness, this is one of the most disrespectful things I've seen a fighter do, like, ever, that I can think of. I'm not saying that everyone, when they win the title, has to thank UFC or thank Dana White or any of that. But if you're going to start down a specific talk track and then you're going to leave them off, like, because what he said is he's like, I can't believe it. Like, this has been my dream. I worked so hard for my dream. I can't believe that I finally achieved it. I want to thank my coaches. I want to thank my team. I want to thank Mother Russia. And I'm just so grateful. And I was like, are you fucking forgetting someone, dude? Like, this is your life's ambition and your life's dream, dude. like, I think most likely the UFC probably had something to do with this moment, since they built the fucking organization from scratch to give you the opportunity that you have, you ungrateful Russian fuck. You know what I mean? Like, are you serious? Like, what do you, like, and I have said this a billion, I've never found a Russian or Eastern European that I did not get along with. I love fucking Russians, dude. They're basically my favorite fucking people. And Ankalaev, I always said, I'm like, something about that guy that kind of rubs me wrong. That shit, I was like, that's insane. I can't, like, he did it on purpose, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, that's clearly intentional. And you're like, your life's ambition, thanks to everyone except Dana White, the UFC, who literally just paid you fucking, I mean, I think the challenger minimum is like $375,000 a year, and made you the world champion, like, thanks to fucking my team in Russia. Like, definitely doesn't need it. He could say fuck America if he wants to, because he definitely wanted to. You know, America said fuck you to him. That every time they showed him the entire night, they're boo. If you're a Russian in America and you're getting the boos, like, no one's going to convince you it's because people love Poatan. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, he fucking did boo all the Russians. It's obviously ridiculous given that Khabib is probably the most popular fucking fighter ever. And Islam, everyone cheers Islam. And there's definitely no through line of we boo Russian fighters at all. It really was that he was fighting against Poatan. But yeah, I don't know. It was clearly intentional. It was really fucking stupid. Like, really stupid. Okay. It's one thing to be like, I pull myself up by the bootstraps. If you can't acknowledge that, like, whatever your vision of your best case scenario of your life is, that there are going to be other people involved that can either help you or hurt you. If you can't acknowledge that, you're not tough. You're a fucking retard. Okay. Like, that's just dumb, because that's the case there's no one where that's the case. Okay. So if you say, fuck you, Dana, UFC, and then it's contract time, and Ali Abdelaziz, who does a great job negotiating for his other fighters, he goes in, he's like, so, hey, let's talk Magomed. And fucking Dana's like, here, I'll give him a quarter and a stick of gum to go fuck himself. How's that sound? You know what I mean? Well, he wants $2 million a fight. Oh yeah, that's going to happen. I have an idea. How about he goes and fucking finds a way to make $2 million somewhere else? Because pretty sure that that's never going to happen. Might have been nice for him to thank me for making all of his dreams come true. You know what I mean? Matt, thank you very much, dude. And by the way, Christopher Rintel, I should have put this up earlier, gifting the memberships. You're the man, dude. Thank you very much, dude. You actually gifted 10 memberships, dude. You are the MVP tonight. You're a stud, dude. Thank you, man. And to anybody who randomly got a membership, check out Members Only. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. I say a lot of things I wouldn't say outside of there. Dana White's face after he looked at the score was hilarious. Wait, which scorecard are you talking? Jesus, that first fight scorecard was insane. The first fight, that was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Like, that's indefensible. And what's really crazy is that both judges who gave it to the Brazilian guy, they had him winning the second and third round, which was completely indefensible. If he won a round, it was the first round. And they both scored that round for the other guy and then gave him the second and third. It was fucking insane. I assume that's the one you're talking about, because that was an absolutely insane decision. Okay, I'm going to wait, I'm wrong about what? Which part? George Gonzalez. Be specific and I'll respond to it. I mean, I guess at the same time, Magomed's from, like, probably, something tells me maybe not a whole lot of experience with, like, negotiating financial contracts with big corporations, where he learned, like, hey, it's better to be friends than adversaries with the people who are, hey, Bill, the economic buyer. You know, you don't want to be fucking enemies with the fucking economic buyer, dude, moron. Yeah. Who had one bad fight? Who are you talking about? I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying, because he had one bad fight wouldn't apply to anything that I was talking about. So I think you're misunderstanding, but if you put in there, I'll respond. Kyle's returned. You need to reach out, Jesse. You'll dig it the most. Reunited, and it feels so good. Kyle has returned. You need to reach out, Jesse. You'll dig it. Kyle has returned. There is a high probability that this is something I should understand and know, and I'm a fucking tired idiot that is not understanding this, but I don't know what you're talking about. Don't take it personal if it's something I should have remembered. I'm stupid. Email it to me if it's something I should have known. I appreciate the super chat, my dude. Poeton. He had one bad fight. Jesse, loosen up. Are you talking about Poeton? I didn't shit on Poeton. I said he looked weird tonight in tonight's fight in a very kind of bizarre, very uncharacteristic way that didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's like, I'm not shitting on Poeton. I think he's the biggest savage ever. That's why it was weird that he looked like he resigned himself to lose a decision in the third and fourth round. We were in the front row of the section directly. Literally, we're in the we always sit in the same seats now, basically. Not in the same section, but the same seats. Like the section directly above the floor seats in the front row, which is where we were. Like, taking videos from there is weird because it's actually kind of unbelievable how much further away it makes you see it. So then you zoom in, but then it looks kind of weird. It's like, it's kind of hard to but this is pretty good. This is what our view is. Like that was our exact view. But oh, unique. Oh, do you guys say unique? I know fucking unique. Kyle. Like I know Unique's first name, and I'll know that Kyle. I'm telling you, I was like, Nelk Boys, Kyle? Like, what the fuck? I know Unique. But anyway, that's good. This is not a bad fucking point, dude. James, what does he care? The Chechen leader Kadyrov will probably give Ankalaev a Bentley and a ranch. Probably fucking true, dude. And maybe Putin will too. But nonetheless, dude, in all seriousness, like I've never seen any foreign leaders like publicly speak critically about us. Like they might, they'll like pay him and do it quiet. Like Americans are honestly the only ones that fucking, talk shit. Like, and the reason I bring that up, I'm saying like when Khabib had success in the UFC, Putin was like, you need to be respectful. Don't jump out of the cage. Do, like carry yourself professionally, yada, yada, yada. So and the only reason I bring that up is like, I'm pretty sure all of them would advise him like, hey man, there's no reason to make an enemy of the boss, the billionaire boss that you work for. Like, that's just dumb strategy regardless. We're still going to give you a Bentley, a harem of women, and fucking a $40 million building because you brought incredible, glory to the country. But, maybe just say thank you to the organization also. You had a 2-2 going to the fifth, really? I mean, listen, I've said this every single time I've gone to a live event. My opinion directly after the event is inferior to a person who knows fights that watched it on television. So I'm not going to argue with you, but I definitely did not have it 2-2 going into the fifth. I had it 3-1. For sure I had it 3-1. Because I thought Pereira won the first round and that was it. And I didn't even really think it was like close, to be honest. The second, third, fourth. Which is the other round that you thought Pereira won? Ankalaev only fought 6 times in the last 3 years against journeyman and arguably lost to Jan. Let me look. I mean, he beat Poeton tonight. It was a weird, seemingly compromised Poeton, but I mean, he is the champion now. In very Ankalaev fashion, where he's like, you know, they're like, what's your best case scenario? He's like, I would like to win the title and make Dana as upset and disappointed and angry as possible in the process. They're like, we got that for you, dude. Let us help you with that. All right, here, let me share this with you guys. And then I want to pull up Dana's press conference too, and we'll look at that. I can't believe this many of you fuckers are up right now, dude. It's fucking 1 a.m. on the West Coast. I figured I was going to come on and put this up and you guys can watch it tomorrow. You guys are all insane like me and my friend. Okay, so first of all, Alexander Rakic, his record is extremely, extremely misleading versus how good he is. Like, Rakic is a fucking nightmare. Beating Rakic is a big deal. He's really fucking good and really terrifying. Johnny Walker, you know, can go either way. It's fair to call him you know, he's not like the top tier light heavyweights. Johnny Walker, I'm sorry, Jan Blachowicz, that was a very close fight. Anthony Smith going into that fight had won 3 straight with 3 first-round stoppages. I hate like that when that's one thing that people, in my opinion, make a mistake doing when they're analyzing stuff like this is like they'll go back and they're all, oh, Colby Covington, Jesus, he beat Robbie Lawler. Like, you know, and we're talking about a fight that was 4 years prior to that, when now Robbie Lawler is very different. Like, you know, like, and I'm not saying anything about Anthony now. That I'm just saying at that time, he was on a 3-fight win streak with 3 first-round stoppages. Very impressive. So, like, that was actually a really big win. And Anthony, but in that one too, Anthony fucking spiral broke his ankle. Dude, and I don't think that Ankalaev did anything to cause that either. That was fucked. That was one of the roughest. That one was rough, dude. I went in a day early. I hung out with fucking Anthony and his team like the whole day before. I saw him, and the next day Anthony was with his whole family having breakfast. He was like super confident. I was like, I had really close seats. I got like, please God, let him win. And he fucking like had a catastrophic injury in his ankle in the fight. I was like, oh my God, that one was a rough one, dude. Alex versus Jones ain't happening now for sure. Yeah, RC, what's up, man? Thank you for the super chat. They're doing an immediate rematch. I don't know if you guys watched. I haven't watched any of the press conferences. Chael told me that Dana said they're doing an immediate rematch. But let me here. I'm gonna put this part on, and we can watch this together. By the way, the only part I watched this was the first like 15, 20 seconds. Dana, look how haggard Dana looks, because probably this entire night, he's probably on the phone with 100 people like, get this fucking shit working. You know what I mean? Like, if the whole infrastructure, pay-per-view infrastructure goes down, the boss is literally talking to everybody throughout the entire fucking night, you know? UFC, what's up, Rod Sports? UFC is going to Netflix. I have heard that this week also that they're ditching the pay-per-view model, which honestly they're going to have to do because it's too easy for people to steal them. The only reason I pay for them is out of principle, you know? And like, I'll be honest, I watch pirated movies all the fucking time, but UFC is like, it would be sacrilege for me to steal UFC, given that I built my dream career on this and I love the sport that much. Like, if I fucking stole fights, that would be very unethical in the way that I see the world. Rodsford, okay, UFC, yeah, so everybody, TKO partner with WWE. Wait, like the TKO partner WWE. Everybody cry about it now. No more ESPN. PPV fail. Last straw. Right. Deal with it. I do agree that I think that is highly likely that they'll do either Netflix or something like that. I don't think the pay-per-view fail is necessarily the catalyst for that. It's going to be a financial decision, and the fact that, like I was saying, it's if your business model is based on selling something that people can just easily take from you without any recourse, it would be idiotic to not try to reshape your business model. Dude, Bill, you want to know something really interesting about UFC's business model? So, like probably 75 to 80% of people who watch the pay-per-views are like pirates stealing them. I found out that when they sell
that much,
easy. But I found out that when they are selling the advertising space, like in the ring and like all around, that kind of stuff, it's not based on the pay-per-view numbers. It's based on the estimated impressions, including people pirating it. Wow. That's how out of control the pirating is that they actually price it into their marketing, and it's the vast majority of the eyeballs that are going to see it. Wow. Yeah. I mean, honestly, as soon as that's the case, like that means any smart and innovative business people, which they are incredibly innovative and smart, they're going to ditch the pay-per-view model the second that they're having to sell their advertising, space based on people committing a crime to view their shit. Like, that's a broken model. You know what I mean? Christopher, thank you very much, dude. Good night, covers past this old fart's bedtime. Dude, mine too. But I always probably give you guys too much inside baseball about YouTube, but one more tidbit of YouTube inside baseball is that if you work inside of a niche on YouTube, you're constantly competing with other channels. And with UFC, if there's a pay-per-view and you put no content up, you're telling YouTube that it's the bad message to send to the algorithm in terms of they'll start prioritizing other channels. So I have to get something up. But I like it. As soon as I'm doing this, I fucking love doing this shit more than anything. Dude, I saw Guru did a fucking 11-hour stream the other day. I popped on there when I was driving to jiu-jitsu the other day, and I saw and I looked, I'm like, does that say fucking 10 and a half hours? He'd been on for almost 11 hours at the time. And then I went and looked at his channel the next day just to see, and I was like, did I see that right? And he had streamed for 11 straight hours. I was like, damn, that's gangster as fuck. On a fucking, like, just a Tuesday. Just a random fucking Tuesday. Pretty fucking gangster. Actually, I was playing poker at fuck me. God damn it. Where was I playing? Oh, Aria last night. I was playing poker at Aria. And one of my buddies from my jiu-jitsu team was playing with me. And so we were just bullshitting. And somehow it, like, we were talking about the UFC, and it came up that, like, what I did, nothing specific. And the guy was like, we were talking about UFC though. And he's like, hey man, you ever heard of this dude, MMA Guru? And I was like, yeah, I've heard of MMA Guru, man. Like, the guy's like, he's great. I was like, he's fucking hilarious. But in Las Vegas at fucking poker rooms, dude, he's got fans. I was talking about the main event scorecard. It was close. So Dana cringed seeing it before Buffer read it. I mean, again, I will throw over the fence that I'm not going to ever die on the hill of my opinion of a scorecard at an event that I watched live, because your view is not as good as someone who watched it on television. But I did not think it was close, like, at all. That's the thing, dude. No more pay-per-views, no more pay-per-view points. Sorry, fighter. So that's one thing. Matter of fact, dude, I need to write this down and remember to do this video, because I have to do a really big video about Dana and TKO UFC partnering with the Saudis on boxing. I don't think anybody, I hadn't done a video on it yet because I was traveling to Vegas, but I just don't think everybody fully grasps how big of a fucking deal that is. And so I'm going to talk about that. But also the other thing, I'm going to talk about them ditching the pay-per-view model, because I want to talk about exactly that, the likely impact on fighters. Because the thing is like, historically, every single time that UFC makes a big kind of decision like that, either changes their model. Actually, I'll just say to be as simple as possible, when they change their model, the fighters always get fucked financially, historically. It's like when they changed the advertising model, it's like so initially it was a total fucking free for all. The fighters were allowed to sell anything they wanted. It's like, oh, come out in the shirt, like, whatever sponsor they want. It's like, all right, here, like, middle finger in the nose, light fixtures is like on your back for $1,500. And like, it was chaos. And then they brought it in-house to where they had to approve any sponsors that were going to be on the fighters. And that's what they did for a long time. And the fighters were making a lot of money. Everybody knows Schaub said that, and this is public. He didn't he said this to Rogan, if I remember correctly, like that he was making over $100,000 just in sponsorships every time that he fought. It might have been way more than that. I don't know, but it was definitely six figures just in sponsorships. And then when the UFC changed the model and they got one main sponsor and no other ones, the fighters went from making hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases to making like 25,000, the top guys. Like just, it was like a catastrophic financial impact for all the fighters. I mean, I don't necessarily have an opinion one way or the other. It's not my fucking business. But if I was going to guess, given that so few fighters ever actually taste pay-per-view points, I think that is highly likely to be the case. That honestly, I don't know, dude. I really don't know. Because what they're going to have to do is they'll have some kind of baseline pay for challengers like they do now. And then for champions, they will have, another baseline pay. Obviously won't include pay-per-view points. But the reality is no one outside of a very small group of people knows what fighters are actually making, because the deals are done in secret on purpose with side letters. I've talked about this on the channel a million times. Speaking of which, I saw, Markel was at the fights. I hung out with him. How I know a bunch of this shit specifically is I'm a really good, Markel Martin's a really good friend of mine. And so I learned how all this contract stuff works, which is obviously the UFC doesn't want everyone to know if they're paying Israel Adesanya a $4 million base salary plus pay-per-view, because they don't want to have to negotiate against that number. When someone's like, well, Izzy's getting $4 million, I should at least get 2.7, when at the time they're offering them 600,000 base. You know what I mean? It's so they don't want everybody to know, and they really don't want anyone to know what fucking Conor makes. You know what I mean? So it's done in side letters. So they have their contracted number, which is their base salary. That's the disclosed number. They don't even disclose what they get per pay-per-view, although at most everybody knows that. And then they get paid this additional piece, which is actually part of their base salary in side letters that's undisclosed. No one has any idea what that is except for the fighter, their manager, the UFC, and then anybody that they tell. And depending on the fighter, it's, it could be very substantial. I don't know what Conor makes. But I do know what some other guys make. And some of the bigger guys that are not Conor were making between 2.5 and 4 base salary before pay-per-views. And but again, most of that's being paid out in side letters, which is exactly what I would do. I mean, obviously, that's basically everything the UFC does is a streamlined fucking masterclass in business and fight promotion. They put on the best show ever. They just put on the best show. It's unbelievable how good the live show is. It's fucking incredible. And then now, forget about all that stuff. Now they're Dana's been talking for how many years he's going to go into boxing. Oh yeah, we're going to do Zuffa boxing. And he's like, boxing's too big of a nest. No, we're not. And when he finally steps in, he has the backing of the fucking Saudis, which have an absolutely endless budget. So the Saudis put on a show in LA. I actually didn't even know about that. I learned about this today. They did one show in LA that did not do well. And, the hypothesis being that they learned we don't really know very much about actually building and promoting fighters. We just have enough money that we can kind of pay any amount of money to get existing stars to come fight in Saudi Arabia. And because if we wanted Canelo bad enough and he wanted $300 million, we could fucking pay it. But that's not scalable and sustainable. And it certainly is never going to put them in a position to actually own a sport the way the UFC owns mixed martial arts, which is what they want for boxing. They don't have the know-how or wherewithal to be able to build boxing the way UFC built MMA. But you know who does? Fucking UFC and TKO. So they partner with them. And now Dana gets to go into boxing to clean it up with a fucking massive, absolutely endless budget So they don't have to risk anything. They just have to bring this perfected, streamlined model that they learned everything about and do better than anyone's ever done in history with mixed martial arts, and then apply it to boxing. It's like, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's like, it's just fucking unbelievable. I'm buddies with one of the guys that works very close. And I was like, dude, where are you sitting? And he's like, I'm sitting next to Dana. And I'm like, tell him he's my fucking hero. Cause he is. He's a fucking genius. The guy is like that kind of stuff. Like more when I thought about it after I did talk to him earlier about the boxing thing, I'm like, it's just like, it's crazy because Dana started talking about that. When do you guys think Dana started talking about fucking doing, Zuffa boxing? Yeah, it couldn't have been less than eight years, something like that. 8 fucking years. And everyone just thinks it's just talking, nothing's ever going to happen. And then he doesn't make any rash moves. He doesn't go try to promote a single event, see how it goes. He doesn't go out half-cocked. He doesn't fucking do some half-ass shit and then trash it. He never announces a single actual, tangible thing. And then once he does, it's literally the most perfect, buttoned-up, incredible business relationship that you could possibly have. In addition to the fact that the other way could have gone, you can go back to what I was just saying about Magomed Ankalaev, fucking moron, who's like, I know what I'll do. I'll tell fuck you, Dana White, and fuck you, UFC, and not acknowledge them. My dreams came true, whatever. And I'm like, you want to be friends with those guys, better friends than enemies, yada, yada. Okay, well, you take that, the UFC, Magomed Ankalaev to the UFC is UFC to the fucking Saudis financially, right? Magomed Ankalaev is nothing. As he's a tiny little player. No one at the UFC or Endeavor would even start to argue with my characterization of their relationship size-wise and power-wise to those guys financially. It's not even fucking comparable. They're literally the wealthiest group of people in the history of the world. No one has any idea how much money they have. Trillions of dollars. And instead of and they come into the fucking combat sports game, they snake the very first champion fighter that the UFC's ever lost to free agency. They lost to the fucking Saudis. That's why Francis left. I mean, Francis could say, oh, it's because he didn't want fucking extensions. He didn't want whatever. But in reality, he wanted to fight Tyson Fury. And the Saudis fucking put that together. On paper or any other way that you look at it, they lost one of the biggest fights they've ever had to the Saudis. A dumb fuck, which is the majority of people in the fight business in terms of this particular situation, would have made enemies of them at that point. Dana and these guys are fucking geniuses who have a long view and have a track record of success that's literally unbelievable when you really examine it. They go and make partners out of them, and not partners on a fucking single event, not partners on a company, partners on an entire fucking sport. Okay. The entire sport of boxing is now underneath the UFC because they made that strategic partnership. They are fucking geniuses. That is why I bought TKO. That's why I'm going to buy a bunch of more TKO stock as soon as the fucking market opens tomorrow. They are incredible. And that's just what it is. James, I'm not going to put that on the screen, but I read your chat and I will respond like it's also Ari Emanuel is a genius for 100% sure. Ari Emanuel is absolutely a genius. I think he's trapped in a pretty weird situation with the fucking Baldoni and Blake Lively situation because it's not like he has any involvement in the decisions that Blake Lively and fucking Ryan Reynolds made, putting them in that situation. But he's their representation. So anyway, it's neither here nor there. But he is an absolute genius, 100%. And the other, I mean, I don't know if this is a big deal, not big deal, whatever. But Ari Emanuel is he's very, very deeply connected with. I read this thing about his family, very deeply connected with Israel, and now they're in this really tight business relationship with Saudi Arabia. Again, better friends than enemies. Outcomes are always bad with enemies, and outcomes are almost always good if you make friends of other powerful, groups. And it's just everything they do is a fucking masterclass, except for defending Blake Lively. Every other thing. But, and I mean, well, Dana, there's no conversation here. Dana is the single greatest fight promoter in the history of the world with absolutely no competition whatsoever. Like no one is in the conversation at all. And no one would even argue with that at all if they know what they're talking about. Jesse, you look skinnier. What happened? I've been in Vegas for 3 fucking days, not drinking enough water. And then, oh yeah, but anyway, let's do it.
All right, gang. The gate was 10.1 million tonight, 18,869 sold out. Fight of the night was Gaethje. Fiziev. Performance of the night tonight went to where is it?
Should have gone to Gaethje if it didn't.
Yep. Okay. Ignacio and Ruffy. They all won 50 grand.
Dude, when Gaethje's post-fight speech, like my hair stood on end for a solid fucking 5 to 10 minutes afterwards.
A tactical battle, we'll say, in the main event.
Yeah.
Crowned a new champion.
Oh my God. After all that shit that I just said about Dana, he's like, here, let me remind you guys about power slap. He's like, everything he does is genius. He's all power slap. I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, maybe it's successful and I just don't understand it. One thing I also learned tonight is I am way less dialed into like current internet pop culture than I realized, because in the seats we were in, it wasn't where the fighters came out, but it was the exit where a lot of floor seat people were getting ushered in. And so like there were a lot of like very, very like famous influencers that were going in and out. The Tate brothers were I mean, I was fucking 8 feet from the Tates. Those guys are big, dude. The Tate brothers are fucking big, much bigger than I thought. And Tristan, I think, dude, Tristan looked bigger than Andrew, actually. I always thought it was the opposite. Those guys are big fucking dudes. But aside from them, or David Goggins is the only other one. There were like fucking a dozen people who came and everybody was rushing over to the side. They're, oh my God, I don't know anybody. I knew who none of them are. I don't know fucking any of them. And everyone's like, you don't know who that is? I'm like, I literally have no idea who any of these people are. So apparently I'm old and weird or just fucking completely unplugged from that stuff.
Yes. Can you give us your initial thoughts on the main event tonight?
Yeah. It was, not what I expected. Expected a lot more shooting, expected a lot more exchanges.
He's like, Alex bailed us out of jams in the last like 18 months that have given him absolute carte blanche for me. Like Alex Pereira came in on like 10 days notice to save the fucking Conor McGregor Chandler card after Conor pulled out. That's one of those things. Like if you do Dana a solid that really like makes a difference, he's incredibly eternally grateful. Cause like he was not this charitable to Izzy when Izzy lost to Strickland, and he wasn't this charitable to Izzy at like after other, I mean, I've seen him after identical types of performances where he's very critical with, I think with Alex, he's just like, this guy has a lot of cards to play with us where I'm not going to shit on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to see Alex back here or not tonight, but we haven't seen him yet. Have you talked to him? Do you know if there was anything wrong with him?
Talk to who?
To Alex Pereira tonight?
No, I haven't seen him yet. He's coming? Yeah? Is he coming in?
Did any of you guys see Alex Pereira in the Jessiano Sempic? Oh man, that's fucking funny, dude. My chat knows the bet. Like I am an automatic. If they fucking call me gay, shit like that, they'll get a laugh out of me every single time, dude. Gay jokes, short jokes, and Ozempic, that's fucking funny, man. Have any of you guys seen the did Alex do a press conference? Have you guys seen any of it? I'm curious what he said.
Maybe. Potentially.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good.
It was a balloon.
Potentially sounds bad.
Clearly, we don't match make on fight night, but a fight that close with a champion as great as Pereira has been, do you lean towards immediate rematch?
Probably.
He's like, I don't know. The least marketable fighter in the entire division just beat the most marketable fighter in the division. I love the guy who lost. I hate the guy who won. He disrespected us on purpose in the octagon. And yeah, probably going to do a rematch. And then maybe, never mind. I was going to make a bad joke. But yes, doing the rematch.
Co-main event, Justin Gaethje did Justin Gaethje things. Mm-hmm. Just give us your thoughts on him. And
great fight. Yeah. I mean, they won 50 grand for fight of the night. They stole it away from the first two kids of the night. They were looking like they were going to win it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
He was back here and said, look, I don't even know what makes sense. But he's like, I do want to fight for the title again at some point, before he's done. Do you feel like at this point in his career, he's still on a potential championship trajectory?
I mean, what's he ranked right now? 4th or something, right?
3.
Third.
Yeah, 3rd. There you go. He's still the number 3 ranked guy in the world. So the odds of him getting the title shot are pretty good.
Dude, Dana loves Gaethje like everyone else. Like, listen, I cannot, like, one thing I cannot stress enough, that if you haven't been to a lot of events, it would probably be hard to like explain in a way that says, like, if people go to a lot of events, then they'll understand, is that when the crowd is cheering for a fighter live, like when the whole crowd cares whether or not a fighter wins, or if a fight is like great, like a really genuinely, uniquely fantastic fight where the whole place is going fucking crazy, there's this feeling that it's the best thing ever. I've always said that I can't imagine there will ever be a fight that I'm at in person that will rival the Khamzat Chimaev against Gilbert Burns fight at UFC 272. That, I mean, I can't even explain to you what that place was. When I watched the replay, because obviously we were there, so we didn't hear the commentary. They were like, you can't even fucking imagine how loud this place was. So loud. I was losing my mind. I was slamming the fucking the table in front of myself so hard for so many times. I thought I broke both my fucking ring fingers. It was so incredible. But like when that happens in there, it's so easy to put yourself in Dana's position and understand why he gets behind certain guys. Because like, if you're like the master of ceremonies, this whole thing is your show. Like at the end of the day, it's show business. He's putting on a show. They make money and all that stuff, and that's important. But like, the biggest success feedback you're ever going to get as the ringmaster in the building is the reaction of the crowd, because the crowd just tells you straight up, it's like, I'm having a great time right now, or I'm inspired, or whatever, or I'm super fucking mad, boo. And like, you know the difference between yay, boo, fun, we're booing the guy we don't want to win, and yay, boo, fuck this fight fucking sucks. And like Gaethje, how many fights do you think? Like I've seen Gaethje fight. That's the first fight I think that I've been at when Gaethje won. I was at the fight when Gaethje got choked by Oliveira. I was at the fight when Gaethje got knocked out by Holloway at 300. And then this one, obviously the UFC 300 one was the ultimate example of that. I literally screamed so loud for so long that I that's the closest I've ever come to fainting in my entire life. And like, so those guys that are the ones that create that with the live environment, Dana fucking loves those guys. And Gaethje's like a aligned America freedom. He's been insanely grateful to the UFC all along. He's thanked them all along. He's like, he's with Ali Abdelaziz, who has a really good relationship with the UFC. Like, he's done everything right. Dana fucking loves Gaethje, understandably.
Yeah. I haven't seen still. I saw a lot of people complaining on X Twitter tonight. They couldn't buy the pay-per-view. Did that make it to you? Do you know?
Yeah, I made it.
He's like,
yeah, they were having problems buying it on ESPN Plus. I don't know what happened with their platform tonight, but yeah, there were a lot of pissed off people.
I bet you ESPN is going to have to cover whatever the estimated losses on that were.
A couple outside of tonight. Obviously, you're making big news in boxing. The announcement was finally made. What can you tell us? I'm just curious, like, what you see your ultimate position as, right? Like, the UFC right now is the dominant brand in mixed martial arts. Do you see being able to be the dominant brand in boxing?
Ooh, I am very curious how he's going to answer this question. Look at his face. Look at his fucking face. That's the look of a person who recognizes that this is not a fucking whatever PR answer right now. Like, this is an actual really important thing that I have to really think about what I'm going to say here.
Or is it more like we're a player in boxing along with the other entities out there?
It's a good question. I would say yes, that Sheikh Turkey and Saudi are the dominant players in boxing right now. And basically,
never outshine the master.
I'm going to run and manage the business for them. This is not an easy business to be in. I mean, you guys have seen over the many years that I've been doing this, a lot of people have tried to get into this sport, and into the fight business. The fight business is looks like a very fun business to be in until you actually start.
It's a you blow Aerofusion titanium
money and getting in here and doing it. And I think that the Shake Turkey and his crew found out quick that it's a lot tougher than it seems, and came to me and wanted to work out a deal where we run the business.
Nice. When do you teach him the have we made that announcement yet? If we do, you'll know when we're ready. He seems to be leaping ahead and kind of revealing all of your news before you're ready.
Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to get him to pump the brakes a little bit, and we don't just lay it all out there. This whole press tour that we did on Monday was to announce the deal. But I'll tell you what's fascinating about him. He's a visionary when it comes to the sport, and he wants to do a lot of like one-of-one type events, and like the Sphere. One-of-one type events are very expensive. So we got
That's so funny. Jesse looks like he's in love. I just looked at myself in the fucking screen and I'm like, oh my God, listen to this fucking guy. He's so smart. That's hilarious. I am exhausted, dude.
a lot of work to do.
Oh, no.
And I don't want to talk about a lot of the stuff that we're.
Let me just be clear. That is 100% inaccurate. I definitely 100% do not want to do what Dana does. I want to do exactly what I'm doing right now, except at a bigger scale. I would love to be in business with Dana on that for sure, but there's no. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. Just like Dana. He's just a fucking absolute savage. And like I said, every time, like, dude, he's a billionaire that could sit on an ESPN press conference and say, Bob Arum is a fucking piece of shit on live television into a microphone. That's the most gangster shit ever, dude. He can do whatever he wants.
We're planning on doing because, we have to build some infrastructure first and figure out, and we got to get a rights deal. We're out shopping a rights deal right now. Lot of work to do before we start announcing big things.
Last thing I want to ask you about with Power Slap, content distribution strategies are changing all the time right now, it seems. Why YouTube? Why is that where you picked to put it? And do you see that as a long-term solution for Power Slap?
Well, I don't know if
I don't care about Power Slap. The only reason you don't throw is because you're scared. That's, I just saw the chat. The reason you don't throw constant punches is because if you do, you're going to get countered and punched in the face and most likely be unconscious. If that means that you're scared, then that's accurate. It's all a matter of balance of caution versus risk. And obviously Alex was too cautious. You didn't answer the timepiece? Yes, I did. I said it's a you blow Aerofusion titanium. Oh, that's what you guys were saying. He did. Okay, yeah. All right, I'm gonna go to bed. I came on to do an hour, and I did. You guys are the best. I didn't anticipate this many of you guys would be on, but it was very fun. And you guys asked excellent questions and kept me on point when I was really tired, and I appreciate it. So good night. Let me think if there was anything else in the night that I needed to talk about before I sign off. Probably not. Oh, I will tell you guys one thing. I put an inception to the only person I know who works near Dana, and I was like, tell Dana to suggest to the Saudis that then, since they're reinventing boxing, they should reinvent boxing and have it always be in 4-ounce gloves. That will be incredible. That'll be what people want. Like, that's the answer. I would let anyone literally chop my hand off if I'm wrong about that. But anyway, all right, I'm going to sleep. You guys are the best. Later.